Moronic best friends get themselves locked inside the biodome, a science experiment along with a group of environmental scientists for 1 year.
This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood.
A nostalgic weekly podcast where a married couple rewatches and reviews our favorite 90s and 2000s movies to decide if they hold up to our adult standards.
That is this podcast. And
Yes.
Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Welcome to another amazing episode of this comedy podcast. If you're listening to it, a little piece of, I don't know.
A little break.
A little break from the world crumbling around you.
Yeah.
Well, too bad, because we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I just felt like we needed to at least address some things. We've always been kind of quiet about our feelings on what's going on in the world, and I just don't think we can continue doing that completely without making it seem like we're supporting a side that we don't actually support.
No, and you brought up a good point. This is a comedy podcast about movies, but we call out movies for some of their racial biases and their biases against the LGBTQ community.
Or women in general.
Or women, or just people with learning disabilities, stuff that somehow in the 90s flew and was allowed to be shown in cinema multiple times.
Yeah.
And right now, like you said, the world's crumbling outside. We live in one of the cities that has had nightly protests.
Yeah.
And we support the protesters.
Yes. That's plain and simple. We support people's right to be angry at what's going on.
Yeah.
The right for Black Americans to stand up for what they believe in, and for white Americans, Hispanic Americans, white passing Americans, anybody to stand up for an injustice like this. And I don't want to get too deep into it because that's not what this podcast is about, but we just felt like we needed to at least address it. And like I was telling Ryan earlier, the last couple months I've come to the realization, because of the pandemic that's going on, that a majority of people in our country and the world do not care about anybody but themselves. And it's becoming more apparent with each passing day, with each bad thing that happens in our world.
Yeah.
And there's the fake outrage for sure. There's people that put stuff on social media because they're like, well, that's everybody else is doing it, so I'm going to share it too. But there's people that are trying to put in the work to learn to be better people, to be more empathetic and understanding of the differences between people and the differences between each other's, I guess, journeys, more or less. And that's one thing I want to work on. Yeah. And as a white passing person, and you're white person. I'm just kidding.
Pasty.
We have an obligation to educate ourselves and be better. So
that's the biggest thing that I could stress to people. We have friends that are in law enforcement. We have family that are in law enforcement. We know not all cops are bad, but we also don't buy into this bullshit that it's one bad apple.
No, it's
a lack of training, a lack of life experience, and they have racial biases when they are pulling people over. They react differently to different races. And if anybody out there thinks that's not true, I'm sorry.
I mean, you worked in law enforcement for how many years?
Worked in law enforcement for a long time.
As a dispatcher.
As a dispatcher. For over 10 years I did that. And like they said, there is plenty of good cops. We're not trying to remotely say all cops are bad, but they need to be more informed. And this idea that we're all Americans, that's correct, but we don't treat everyone the same.
No.
That's BS. I don't quite know where I was going with this.
I think you were just trying to say that right now we should be focusing on the people that are feeling more oppressed, and that's Black Americans.
It is, and it's been going on for decades. This is not...
Been going on. Let's be honest. It's been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah. But I mean, we've had race riots in our country going on the better part of the last 70 years.
Yeah.
And things, unless we have a radical change, this is going to continue.
Yeah, and to me, it only get worse.
I have a dear friend, one of my best friends, who's in an interracial relationship, and he has children, and they all look black. And he said he has to educate them differently because he will never know what it's like to get pulled over, and every movement you make is critiqued.
Yeah.
As a white guy, because that's what he is, he gets the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, that's part of the privilege that so many people are trying to understand.
Yeah.
And then so many people are trying to deny that they have.
Exactly.
So this is how we feel, and we just felt like we couldn't ignore what's going on in this world
No.
without feeling complicit in the silence.
Yeah. I think you made an excellent point. Try to educate yourself more.
Yeah.
We could all do better. None of us probably view ourselves as a racist
Well, no.
or anything, but if we are white, we do have something going for us that other people don't.
Yes.
And you need to realize that and try to understand why that's not right. So,
Correct.
and now we're going to shit on a movie.
Well, we haven't watched it yet.
Or defend the movie. Who knows?
So this week's movie, guys, is a 1996 classic, Biodome. It is a Pauly Shore classic.
Mm-hmm.
And our poll winner for the week,
Yes.
which has been going pretty well.
For you,
It's not a competition, right?
you made it a competition when you pointed out every week my movie wins.
I just have better taste in movies.
I do think if I had picked Son-in-Law,
And there would have been a bigger fight.
there would have been a bigger fight. I picked a lesser known, but it's a movie that I had more of an emotional attachment to,
Yeah.
if you will.
This one, I definitely saw the most out of all the Pauly Shore films. And then Son-in-Law was definitely a close second. So we are going to definitely, down the line, do another Pauly Shore week, do Son-in-Law, and did we decide Encino Man or
Or we could do Jury Duty.
Jury Duty? Yeah. We'll think about it, but definitely Son-in-Law
Yes.
will be on there. And, well, this one won by quite a good margin again.
Like they always do.
And this is it's a movie that I haven't seen in a while, but when I was younger, literally every time it was on TV, I watched it.
I don't think I've seen it in at least 20 years,
Yeah.
if I had to guess. I don't know if I owned it on VHS either, but I felt like we owned quite a few of Pauly Shore's movies. We owned Son-in-Law. We did own In the Army Now. So we might have owned this one.
I think we owned Encino Man. I think that was the only one, but it definitely, again, whenever it was on TV, I watched it.
Yeah.
So give us some 1996 facts.
We're going to go ahead and get in our car, take a trip down memory road. This movie was released on January 12th of 1996. It had a budget of $15 million and grossed $13.4 million. Therefore, it was a financial disaster.
Disaster?
A financial loss or loser.
You could just say disaster.
Nope.
Disaster.
Say disaster. Popular movies from 1996 were Independence Day, Twister, and Mission Impossible. Popular TV shows were ER, Seinfeld, and Suddenly Susan. The number one song the week the movie came out was One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. And a couple other popular songs were The Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony. Shout out to Cleveland. And the Macarena by Los Del Rio. That was a crazy popular song.
I would like to know if anybody didn't participate in that song.
Possibly my father.
I don't know if I can see it.
I can't see him. I don't remember him ever doing the dance or anything like that.
Yeah, my mom would blare that song. It was, if my dad had his movie specials, his VHS specials, my mom had her songs of the month that she would replay until your ears bleed.
Yeah.
And that was definitely one of them.
The ones I can think of off the top of my head were Smooth
Yes.
by Santana and Rob Thomas. And then Mambo Number 5.
My mom loved Mambo Number 5. I'm pretty sure I said it maybe in one of our earliest episodes about how she would play that so much. And me and my brother would like lock ourselves in his room, try to play a video game, sometimes just curl up and cry.
Okay, you said try to play video game.
A video game. But yeah.
It's amazing, like, none of which I would say are a bad song, but when you live in a house that plays that incessantly, you will hate that song.
Yeah.
I remember my friend Brian, he hated Smooth.
Yeah.
He was like, you don't understand. On a Saturday morning, that song is played on repeat in my house. I'm like, yeah, that'll do it.
That Blue Contrail song.
Oh,
Hit
'Em Up Style?
Yeah. Yeah. Another one of Mary's classics.
You said you watched this movie a lot on TV.
Yeah.
I know I didn't see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Probably, it would have been a renter.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The things I remember from this movie is just Pauly Shore and Stephen Baldwin just making a mess of stuff.
Yeah.
And it being hilarious.
I actually, when I was 13, about a year after this movie came out, went to the Biodome.
Oh, yeah, because it's in Tucson.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go there. I've never even been to Tucson.
Well, we'll have to go one day. It was a neat facility to like take a tour of, but
yeah.
I don't know that they filmed the movie there. I think they probably would have just made a...
We'll look that up.
Yeah.
Probably.
Be interesting.
And forget about it by the time we watch the movie and record the second part of this podcast.
It's what we do.
I remember liking this movie mostly just because I thought it was cool, an idea that you'd be locked in this, almost like a little bit of a utopia if you think about it, because there's all these people are there for like a greater good, for a good study. But then you have these two morons that are like, I'm going to take advantage of it.
They're not smart.
No. But they're not supposed to be, I guess.
No.
Do you think this movie is going to hold up?
I'm going to say it's not going to. I think there's probably going to be some offensive jokes and just over-the-topness.
Yeah.
That I know I enjoyed this as a kid, so I'm not going to sit here and say it's a crappy movie, you know. I liked Pauly Shore a lot and enjoyed a lot of his movies, so there's going to be some nostalgia for me in that sense. I'm sure I'm going to laugh at him. Like, yeah, I'm going to say just I can imagine it's going to be a little on the more offensive side.
I agree, and from what the things that I can remember is, I guess, the over-sexualization of women.
Oh.
And particularly the women environmentalists who are super educated.
Yes.
And not that I'm saying if you're not educated, you deserve to be sexualized, but just like the fact that they're going to still be reduced down to being like, they're hot. That's what I mean. But I think that's going to age it. And I think just like any Pauly Shore's sayings or isms are going to be a little too over the top, like you said, and not help the movie at all.
No.
So I don't think it's going to hold up. But maybe it will still be enjoyable to watch. Maybe it won't be so cringy. Who knows?
I don't know.
I guess we'll know in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Oh, and before we get to just letting you know where you can watch this movie, I did want to shout out a couple people because we put on our social media, we asked the question, what was your favorite sick day movie? Because over the weekend we did release a mini episode for the Ruiners Club, our fan club.
Yes.
That is free to join if you go to our website at ruiningourchildhood.com.
And then click the Join the Fan Club tab. Don't just put your email address in there.
Yeah. Ryan's learning.
Yeah.
So on our social media, we did ask what was your favorite 6-day movie, because Ryan, yours was...
The Goonies.
Yeah. And mine was Beauty and the Beast. And I got a couple responses. Alicia on Instagram said Son-in-Law, coincidentally. Devil Wears Prada, I can't talk.
Oh. Or
Heavyweights, which, Heavyweights is an amazing movie.
Yes. We did it for the podcast.
Yeah. And I love Devil Wears Prada. I keep want to put an S on that.
Devils Wear Prada.
So many devils wear Prada.
Many. That was an early movie that you showed me.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I loved Emily Blunt's character in it.
Yeah. She's amazing. Paul from Instagram said Spaceballs.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is a good one.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah. My favorite Mel Brooks when I was a kid was Men in Tights. And
Men in Tights is a good one.
Blazing Saddles, even though I think a lot of the jokes went over my head when I was real little.
That and The History of the World Part 1. Or is it Part 2?
I don't know.
It's one of those. And they were classic.
Yeah. We should definitely do one of them,
Yeah.
I think, for the podcast.
We could do Spaceballs
That-
or Men in Tights, because those came out in our lifetime, at least. I mean,
Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
Spaceballs.
Yeah. John Candy.
Yeah.
Richard Moranis.
That's two. That's two.
That's 3. Who learned you to count?
I was saying that's true.
And
And I was like, also? I don't know. Anyway. And then also Brooke from the Tape Store podcast on Instagram, she said, weirdly Jaws.
Ooh.
It's just so good. That's what she wrote.
God.
So
Do you remember the Jaws ride at Universal Studios?
I don't know if I wrote was it
It was
did we
open
ride
on
on
our
our
honeymoon.
honeymoon?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
We're theme park nerds.
Yes.
And we went to Disney World on our honeymoon and also
Universal Studios.
yeah, because Harry Potter.
For sure.
Everything else is just kind of there for me.
Yeah. Simpsons area.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
I like the Simpsons area for
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, the Jaws ride where it's essentially the Jungle Cruise.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when I was a kid, I was terrified of it
Oh, yeah.
because I thought that was a real shark.
That's true. I wouldn't be surprised. I think I was a little afraid to get on it because I don't like boats or water.
Yeah. Until you realize that the boat
Is on a track.
It's on a track and the water's probably 1.5 feet deep.
But the Jungle Cruise sank not that long ago.
That is very true.
It didn't sink. People didn't die. But
No, but that boat did sink.
yeah,
Took on a ton of water.
it did.
Yeah.
It was scary.
Very scary.
I wasn't there.
We were not there.
I just read about it.
Yeah.
I don't have that pulled up to tell you where you can watch this, so I'm going to do that right now. So, where you can find this movie. I don't know why I can never start this little segment like a normal person.
You also forget the segment half the time.
Yeah,
I have to
that's
be like, hey, where can we stream this?
Well, maybe that's how we should start it. It seems more natural. You should ask questions too, Ryan.
Ready? Ashley, where can we stream this?
You can stream Biodome on a couple different platforms, including Prime, Amazon Prime. So if you have the Prime Video, the Prime membership, you can watch this for free.
Yay.
And a streaming app called Hoopla. Sure, that's a thing.
There's so many streaming services
Yeah.
we've never heard of.
Yeah, we're learning every day. And then you can also rent it or buy it on any platforms or own it. We don't own it.
We're not cool like that.
Yeah. We're not going to pretend like we own it and then come back.
Like, fun fact, guys.
We don't own
We
it.
don't own this.
So, yeah. We'll go ahead and hit that.
Pause.
Come back and talk about Biodome.
Correct. Okay, and we're back. We just finished watching Biodome. And before we start breaking down our movie with our categories, like we always do, we just want to remind you guys to, subscribe and like our podcast if possible. Also, hit us up on our social medias.
Yes.
Over on the Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, so that way you guys can vote in our polls, and we'll let you guys know the movies for next week at the end of the episode.
Yes. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. And also join the Runers Club.
Yeah. Super easy. Just go to our website. Go to join our fan club.
Yeah.
Type in your email address. And you're subscribed.
You get 2 bonus-odes and a membership card for free $99.
Free $99. And also, if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, or if you have Apple Podcasts on your phone, why don't you write us a review? It helps us out.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah, with your words.
Yes.
So, shall we get started with the first category?
A little category we like to call, Well, Hello There.
Well, hello there.
Where we talk about any cameos of famous or recognizable actors or actresses that we forgot were in the movie. And who did you notice?
There are quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
The first person that I noticed was William Atherton.
Yes,
He played Dr. Noah Faulkner,
that is correct.
and he's very recognizable, but he was in Die Hard. He was the reporter, right?
Richard Thornburg.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in Ghostbusters.
Yes, those would be the ones I remember him from.
Who did you have?
I guess a main person that I guess we should talk about is old Pauly Shore,
Yes.
who played Bud, and we've mentioned multiple movies that he was in. He used to be a VJ for MTV,
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. And so yeah,
He's something.
yes he is.
And Stephen Baldwin plays Doyle,
Yes,
and he's been in stuff.
honestly, I think this is the main thing I know him from.
He was in The Usual Suspects, the Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas. I'm pretty sure he played Barney. And he was in Fred Claus as himself. And he's been in a bunch of things, but nothing that we've seen. So
He has a solid collection of Celebrity Apprentice, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here,
Yeah.
Celebrity Big Brother. He's doing things.
he's doing things. And who is your next one?
My next one was Joey Lauren Adams.
Yes.
She plays Monique, who is Pauly Shore's girlfriend.
Yes.
And Joey Lauren Adams was obviously in Chasing Amy and
Obvious.
other things.
She was in Dazed and Confused.
Thank you.
And Veronica Mars for one episode.
Yes.
And what else was she in that we've seen? She's been in stuff.
Yeah.
But mostly, I think it was Dazed and Confused and Chasing Amy that I remember her mostly from. We kind of talked about her on our Dogma episode.
Well, what is your next one?
The next person I noticed was Patricia Hearst.
Yes.
Patty Hearst.
Yes.
Cultural figure.
Mm-hmm.
She played Doyle's mom.
She was in Crybaby.
She was in Crybaby, yeah.
Also on Veronica Mars.
Also on an episode of Veronica Mars, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's Patty Hearst.
I was going to say, and she's extremely famous for not acting. The next one that I recognized was Henry Gibson, who played Mr. Leakey. He was the financer for the Biodome research experiment.
Yeah.
And I recognized him from The Burbs with Tom Hanks.
Okay, yeah.
But I did look up, and apparently he was on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, which is what he's mainly known for.
He looked familiar, but then I looked at his IMDb and nothing really catched my eye. But I did watch this movie a lot
Yeah.
as a kid, so that's probably what it's from.
Mm-hmm.
Can we pause it real quick?
And who was your next one?
My next one was Kylie Minogue, who plays Dr. Petra von Kant.
Nope.
Cunt.
There you go.
Is it cunt?
Yep.
Really?
Lowbrow jokes.
Lowbrow.
Lowbrow.
I think he's a lowbrow.
That's a lowbrow joke.
It's kind of a bro movie, too, so
Yeah.
it kind of works. Yeah, she is Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
She's an actress. She's a singer.
Mm-hmm.
She's Australian.
Yep.
What more can you say about her?
I definitely knew her more for the singing,
Yes.
but as an adult, I realized that she was in this and Street Fighter,
Yeah.
and then more predominantly she was in Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
But like you
Was
said,
she?
she's Kylie Minogue. She plays the Green Fairy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to rewatch that movie. I always thought she was fascinating in the sense that she had a hit, early 90s, late
Yeah.
80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 10 years later, she had another huge hit.
Yes.
And I thought it was funny that somebody can go that long without having a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Not that she wasn't trying, but like a cultural phenomenon
Yeah.
type deal.
Yeah, because both of her hits, at least in the U.S., were hugely popular
Yes.
songs. And I know she's big in Britain, so I would imagine over there she probably had multiple hits.
Yeah,
between
for sure.
coming to,
We
us.
always, we Americans, we just always think the world revolves around us.
Yep. If you don't have a hit here, you're irrelevant.
Who is your next one?
My next one was Denise Dowsey. She played Dr. Olivia Biggs, and what I recognized her most from was being Miss Teasley on Beverly Hills 90210.
Yeah.
Who was like their principal.
Mm-hmm.
But then you pointed out she had more recently been on Good Trouble and played Roger Bart's secretary.
Yes.
So,
and she was also had a stint on Charmed
okay.
for a couple episodes where she played, I can't remember what they were called, the Light Whiters, like / angel, like the people that were technically good.
Oh.
Yeah. And she's insecure right now.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah. She's still out working.
Yeah. Imagine that. An actress working, acting.
Working and acting and making a living.
Who is... Oh, it's my turn.
It is your turn.
Kevin West plays T.C. Romulus, who is... I've realized when I'm looking at the list of the characters' names, there's only 2 people that have doctorates, apparently.
Yes.
But the other people are, I guess, the best in their fields.
Mm-hmm.
And he is... I don't know what the term is, but he likes the bugs.
Yes.
He studies the bugs.
Yeah.
He is just one of those faces that I feel like I've seen more, but then I looked and he hasn't been acting lately. So I don't know what's going on there. But he was in Chuck and in Gone in 60 Seconds. In small parts, but still.
Gotcha.
But I honestly think I just recognize him from this movie specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The next one that I had was Taylor Negron.
Yes.
Who plays Russell, which is Monique's mom's boyfriend.
Yes.
Who, I don't know that they actually ever showed Monique's mom.
No, it's kind of a weird character. I think they just wanted to get him.
Yeah.
To be in this movie.
And the main thing I remember him from is he was in Angels in the Outfield.
Oh, okay.
And his whole job was like the owner put him in charge of watching Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the other kid at the games.
Oh, okay.
So he would have to like go fetch him hot dogs.
Was he like a sarcastic asshole?
A little bit, but kind of would just get annoyed by them because they would, in the middle of the game be like, I want a hat.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And he would have to go get it because they couldn't let him know that they could see the angel.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie since it probably came out, so I had no clue what the premise was again. Other than Jogo was in it.
That was one of my jams as a kid. That was up there with Heavyweights.
I recognized him from, he's in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Mm-hmm. And Crazy Summer, which is a John Cusack movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wasn't a good one, but it was.
It was a John Cusack movie, so we're fans of it.
My next one was Rose McGowan.
Yes.
Plays Denise, who is just a friend of Monica, or Monique, sorry, not Monica. I just saw the M-O-N and I was like, her name is Monica. Mm-hmm. Monique, who is Joey Lauren Adams' character, and what was Doyle's girlfriend's name? Jen?
Jen.
It's their college buddy, and she's in it very briefly, but
yeah,
it was the same year that Scream came out, right?
Yes.
So
Scream came out that fall.
And she's from Charmed.
Mm-hmm. It's always interesting when you see someone who's pretty famous. I mean, Rose McGowan's pretty famous, and then you see them in a role like this where it's extremely small, and you're like, they got Rose, but this was early work for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was in Jawbreaker, another one that we've done for the podcast.
She was one of my favorites as a kid.
Definitely.
Who is your next one?
My next one are the legendary duo of Jack Black and Kyle Glass as Tenacious D.
Yeah.
And they're just singing at the college campus. And I was just kind of surprised at how young Jack Black looks, because also he didn't have a beard or mustache.
No, he looked very young, but Kyle looked the same?
Yes.
As when they kind of exploded. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Jack Black looked super young. And I remember them being in this movie, so I was excited to see it again. Because I remember right when Jack Black started getting kind of big. Like I don't know if High Fidelity was his first movie, but that was his first movie
that's where he blew up.
Yeah, that I recognized him. Mm-hmm. And then I remember rewatching this and be like, oh my God, that's the guy from High Fidelity.
Yeah.
I
again, I'm a nerd and I get excited about those things.
No, I got excited today because
Yeah.
I forgot he was in this. I was like, Jack. I heard his voice before
Yeah.
he ever appears on screen. I was like, oh, that's Jack Black. Oh, there he is.
My next one was Jeremy Jordan, who plays Trent, one of the douchebag guys that hit on Monique and Jen, who kind of come off like they're better than Bud and Doyle, but honestly, at the end, they're really not. They're still douchebags. They just hide it better. But he is Guy Perkins in Never Been Kissed.
Okay.
So he's like the hot guy from that movie. He's the hot guy in high school that Josie Grossi is in love with.
Ah, yes.
I mean, she's an adult, so she's not really in love with him, but he's
She
like...
was in love with him.
No, but he's actually the popular boy when she goes back to high school. Have you ever seen this movie?
I have.
Okay. When she goes back to high school,
Uh-huh.
and there's the young people and she's hanging out with... He's the high school
Oh,
boy.
okay.
But she goes to prom with him
Okay.
and then figures out that he's a big douchebag.
Fair enough.
So, and also she's a 28-year-old, I think.
Yeah, wasn't she a reporter?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That movie has some questionable things, but I still love it.
Most notably, Michael Vartan. Sorry.
Why do you hate Michael
I don't know.
Vartan?
I'm not a big fan. Not a fan.
Who is your next one?
The last one that I had was Channon Rowe,
Yes.
who plays their friend, by their friend, I mean Bud and Doyle, their friend Roach.
Yeah.
And the big thing I remember him from was one of our early episodes, Can't Hardly Wait.
Do you mean Jock number 1?
Yes. Yeah, how there was the jocks that are literally listed as that, and then the girlfriends are girlfriend 1, 2, and 3, and one of them is Jamie Presley.
Yeah.
They couldn't even give her a name.
Well, as we discussed in that episode, they don't develop those characters
No,
very
they
well.
don't.
I did have 2 more. Phil Lamar.
Okay.
He's at the very end of the movie. He plays one of Leakey's assistants.
Okay.
And he's been in a bunch of stuff. He does voice acting, but he was from Mad TV.
Okay.
Most notably, he played, from what I can remember, is the delivery guy that always drank too much coffee. So he's like always bouncing around. You never really watched Mad TV?
Mm-mm. I was an SNL guy.
I was a both.
Oh.
I was a both person.
Okay, so I was a both.
Both.
Yeah.
And then another person was Tucker Smallwood.
Mm-hmm.
He played the SWAT team commander, and he's been in a bunch of TV shows, like one-offs, but he was in Deep Impact, Seinfeld, Friends, and Malcolm in the Middle.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I did want to mention one more who I did not recognize him, but I know who he is.
Uh-huh.
And that was, he plays Professor Bloom,
Okay.
and it's Roger Clinton, who is President Clinton's brother.
Is he the one that's like, was talking to Monique and Jen?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like right before Rose McGowan walks up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has a really small part, which is...
It was definitely a cameo.
Yeah. And it's very surprising that if your brother is the president of the United States, that you would be in, of all movies, this one.
Are you saying this is not a great movie, Ryan?
I guess we're going to have to stick around and hear our final thoughts.
Do you want to move on?
Yes.
The next category is called Kids Would Call It a Throwback. We call it the prime of our teens, where we talk about fashion, dated references, and offensive jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some things.
Yes. Right off the bat, for me, on the fashion, Stephen Baldwin, his hair, his soul patch, he is very interesting looking.
Can I tell you, I wanted to save this, but I had a crush on him from this movie.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, that is a revelation.
You know, Child Ashley, as I will mention in a minute, girls don't have the best taste in boys at a younger age.
No.
You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Stephen Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great. I loved the girls' outfits, Monique and Jen, because apparently girls don't wear bras. Must be nice.
Yeah.
like Monique probably never wore a bra, I don't think. But they were wearing crop tops. Something you literally like jersey t-shirts that are crop tops that you would see on an average teenage girl today.
Yeah. Yes.
Because that 90s fashion is back.
Bring it up back. God, I wish it would go away.
I don't know. I don't mind some of it.
A lot of it I mind.
Anything like super metallic-y and crop toppy, which they also wear in this, is, a little too much.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just jealous because I can't pull it off anymore.
It reminds me of stuff Gwen Stefani was wearing.
She was a fashion icon.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else did you have?
I did notice Doyle and his girlfriend Jen both had puka shell necklaces and wore another necklace that had wooden letters of the other one's name.
Yeah, that's kind of cute.
Which, yeah, it was kind of cute, but the old puka shell.
Oh, yeah.
I had a brother that wore a puka shell necklace for a very, very long time.
Along with his highlighted hair.
Yeah.
Bleach blonde hair.
Bleach blonde.
Never forget.
One did the bleach blonde highlights, and then the other brother dyed his hair blonde, and he was dating a redhead, and he had a little red tip.
Oh,
in his
man.
hair.
Do you have pictures of that?
There might be some somewhere.
Oh.
Mistakes were made.
On so many levels.
Yep. Hi, guys.
Thanks for listening. So can we just rename this podcast Making Fun of Our Brothers?
Ryan sings his brothers.
I liked Dr. Faulkner's hair. It was feathered. And then he always had a scarf, even when after he goes underground or lives in the walls or wherever he's living.
Yeah.
And he gets all grizzled. He still has the scarf.
Still.
But yeah, his hair was amazing.
I love a good feathered haircut.
You would.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anything else?
No, actually, that's it.
What about offensive jokes or dated references?
Well, right off the bat, one of the first things when they're in the biodome, Doyle does walk over and slap Kylie Minogue on the butt. So that was nice. Or sorry, yeah, Bud. That is Pauly Shore who did it. Walks over and slaps her on the backside. And of course, it's a comedy and it stars these guys, so it's perfectly okay.
The one thing I must have completely forgot about, but the minute I saw the scene, I was like, nope, I remember that.
Yep.
And it was cool, was the first night they're in the biodome, they sneak into the women's beds, Mimi and Petra, and feel them up.
Yep.
A little aggressively on Doyle's part more than anything.
On Bud's part, it looks like he's going to have sex with her while she's asleep.
That's true. And then the women kick them out. Mm-hmm. And then it's just laughed off like, boys will be boys. And yes, this is a movie that was set in 1996, but that's a little disturbing when you think about that's the stuff that people don't condone these days, because that reinforces this stereotype that men can get away with anything, and it reinforces the idea that women are okay with any kind of behavior you have towards them.
Yeah. I was straight up blown away by that scene.
Yeah. It was a very iffy scene.
Yes.
Even in 1996.
Yeah.
Other than the casual, sexual assault. They had a couple references that I noticed.
Yeah, I caught one. They referenced Mark Spitz, which I thought was an interesting reference because, Mark Spitz was a good Olympian, but like 25 years prior to this.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's random.
They mentioned Dennis Hopper at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like, in the one scene where they're starving because they're making them eat healthy food, and they kind of smell out or sniff out some snacks that are hidden.
Mm-hmm.
And Bud is drinking a Country Time lemonade in a can, which they probably still make, but I haven't had one of those since
1997.
Yeah. So it was pretty interesting to see.
It took me back because also I was thinking the same thing. I don't know the last time I saw Country Time lemonade, let alone in a can.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one that I had that was kind of a dated reference was when they throw the party in the biodome.
Yeah.
The scientists can hear the party and they come down and this guy's like, "Are you guys a band?" And they're like, "We're the Biodome 5." And he's like, "Which one is Tito?" I was like,
Yeah, that was a good reference.
yeah.
I did like, and I thought it was random because I felt like a lot of the humor in this movie is fart based and
Yes.
very lowbrow, I guess, in a way. But they do the reference of when Russell, who is Monique's mom's boyfriend, Taylor Negron, he's watching TV and they have this thing about a clown getting shot, assassinated, and they're like, back into the left,
Yes.
back into the left, which is a reference to JFK's assassination. And I thought, okay, well, that's kind of funny. It's a reference humor. It's a clown getting shot, and they're breaking it down like it's the president getting shot.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Everything else, not that funny,
No,
unfortunately.
I think you hit the nail on the head as far as the fart humor. I don't know which episode, but one of the podcasting episodes had some fart humor, and I was like, I like a good fart joke. This was so lowbrow.
Yeah.
It was like trying to get a laugh so hard that it falls incredibly flat.
We sound so pretentious.
I know. I like my highbrow fart humor.
There's times where it's well done, and then sometimes where it's just like, okay,
Yeah,
enough is enough, guys.
exactly.
Did you have anything else in this category?
No, that is it for me.
Overall, again, besides the blatant sexual assault of two women, not a lot of like dated jokes,
Yes.
just dumb jokes that don't date well when you're an adult.
Yeah.
When you're 12, hilarious.
Amazing.
Want to hit us with the next category?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and order some pizza on a payphone and talk about some technology. And what did you notice?
The only thing I really noticed was the high tech, and I'm using air quotes here. The high tech system that controls Biodome is really outdated, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Even though back then I probably thought it looked really high tech.
Oh,
you know?
God, yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, because they are concealed in this environment, they don't have access to phones, they don't have access to modern conveniences, so there's not a whole lot.
No, there really wasn't. There was just, I made reference to the payphone, and you mentioned when Russell was watching the TV and they had the news story about the clown, the TV was very old,
Yes.
but that's what you should expect from something that was made in 1995.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I will say the credits, I don't know if you want to talk about the credits. It was very much a 90s rock music video.
It was awful.
It was like a subliminal message film.
Yeah.
A lot of random.
Images popping
Yeah.
at you. Yeah. The font was all different sizes, saying the people's names.
Yeah. I can't remember the song.
I
It
don't
was a
remember
very
the song.
mid-90s.
It sounded almost like a Green Day song.
A
but
little bit, but it wasn't.
yeah,
it
it's
definitely
not.
wasn't Green Day, but
And they went on forever.
yeah.
It was like 5 minutes of credits for this movie that's an hour and a half long.
The band that played at the party, was that a real band?
I do not know.
I'm going to look. That was Wax, I believe.
Wax?
Wax, an American punk rock band from LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'm sure there's somebody that was into the punk rock scene in the 90s going, yeah, Wax.
Yeah. Duh.
Dadoy.
There were some other interesting songs. There was the Da 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 song
Yeah.
by Trio, which that did take me back.
Yes. Safety Dance.
Safety Dance by Men with Hats, I believe.
That sounds right. This, I believe, was the introduction for me to that song. And then I remember watching VH1 and seeing the music video and then getting the reference that they do have in the video where they're all dancing to the song. And then all of a sudden in one scene, there's a little person dancing with them
Yeah.
in like Renaissance fair type garb. And that's definitely in the video. So
That makes perfect sense.
yeah. Does it make perfect sense with the song?
Well, what you're seeing
Yeah.
as far as the movie. And then I just remember I Want Candy was on there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, there was a song, Psychobility Freak Out, which I remember because it's Reverend Horton Heat.
There was the Spider-Man theme song that they just played in the background, but it was, I guess, in a reference to earlier in the movie. They are singing it, but they're saying Iron Man.
Yes.
Because that's the only rock song that they know. So they're singing Spider-Man.
But with Iron Man.
With Iron Man in the...
Yeah.
And Dr. Faulkner's like, that's the Spider-Man theme song, and I think you're thinking of...
Iron Man by Black Sabbath.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ugh, they're so dumb.
And it's another song or joke that falls flat.
Yeah. Should we move on?
Yes, we shall.
The next category is called Is It Even Good? Or Let's Get Digging, where we talk about the plot holes and the plot. But which one has more to talk about? And our funniest and cringiest moments of the movie. What did you think about the plot, Ryan?
As far as the experiment, believable. Everything else to do in this movie is not believable to me.
You're saying that if two dummies,
Get locked in a biodome?
they wouldn't immediately go, let's pause the experiment,
Yes.
take them out, restart, because it's only been like 5 minutes.
That is my biggest issue.
Yeah.
They decide, because they have the clock up and you can see it, within 13 minutes they decide, we're going to keep them in here and make them part of the experiment.
Yeah.
Kick them out.
But then there wouldn't be a movie, Ryan. And that's the whole point.
There would be a movie. It would be a documentary about a successful experiment.
But then we would only get 13 minutes of Pauly Shore.
Ugh.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it's a classic fish out of water story.
Classic.
Two dummies are dumb. And they ruin people's life's work.
Yes. Literally.
Yeah. What about the plot holes?
I talked about how I think they would throw these two morons out within 2 seconds. I also found it odd that there's no emergency exit. Like they claim they are officially locked in.
That's dangerous.
Yes.
I guess the emergency exit was the one in the desert that you only had access to by a electronic stairway.
Yes.
I don't know.
It was, I don't know. It's just
It's a
bizarre.
movie, Ryan. It's a movie.
Not a good one.
My first plot hole was, how did Bud and Doyle land two hotties like Monique and Jen, who, by all accounts, are very smart women?
And they're good people.
They're environmentally conscious.
Yeah.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're slumming it with those dummies.
It is a wonder.
And
put it
again,
nicely.
I kind of mentioned it. Younger women have horrible taste in men.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can even
Says
remotely.
the person who liked Stephen Baldwin.
I don't know why. He was, you watch a movie and you just think those people probably smell. And it's the character, not the actor. The character. And I got that
He
from
looks
them.
like he might not bathe.
Yeah.
There's people you look at, he probably doesn't smell good.
We're so mean. But again, it's about the not the actor, the character Doyle.
Yeah.
They're trashy.
Yes.
What was your next one?
The whole manner in which they sneak into the biodome. They stop there because they think it's a mall,
Yes.
and he needs to use the bathroom. There's a security guard's like, no, you're not coming inside. He tries to pee in a fountain and throws a firecracker, and then they get inside, and then it was like, I should probably pee in this waterfall.
Yeah.
Again.
Interesting.
Very, yeah, we'll call it that. Interesting.
And then my other plot hole, again, was how women can find these two attractive at all. Was when Petra and Mimi finally are like, we're going to seduce him.
It's been like a year.
At that point, and they had turned it around a little bit, I will say after they destroyed everything a month into the experiment, they decide, basically their girlfriends dump them and they're like, oh fuck, we fucked up, so let's fix everything we destroyed. And then Petra and Mima are like, these guys are hot. And I'm like, they're still idiots.
You two are still way out of their league.
But I contribute that to maybe not having sex for a year, so their standards are lower.
That's what I said. I go, I think it was they had been in there almost a year, and they went, all right, we'll take a shot.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned earlier when they climb into bed with these women and assault them, wouldn't at that point get them thrown out?
Today, 100%.
Yeah.
1996, boys will be boys.
Yeah. Touche.
Yeah.
Touche.
Did you have anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. Surprisingly, not a lot of plot holes in a movie that's
incredibly far-fetched.
Yes.
That putting it nicely.
Yeah. What was your funniest liner moment?
It was hard to find one. I did like when Russell shows up. They had escaped from the biodome, and Russell shows up as a pizza delivery guy and drops off a couple pizzas for them. And they're like, how did you get a job? And he's like, fucking President Clinton. And Stephen Baldwin's like, you had sex with President Clinton? And it was, it was hard to find funny moments in this movie.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I guess my funniest moment was actually something else that Russell did, which I decided Taylor Negron may be too good to be in this movie.
Yeah.
So after the party, after the girls break up with them for destroying the biodome, they're trying to stop the 4 other scientists, sans Dr. Faulkner, who disappeared at this point, to help them save it.
Yes.
Doyle puts on this passionate speech about how they should save it. And then he's like, I'm going to swallow this key that unlocks the window. And it's like this dramatic music. And then all of a sudden, Russell's like, oh, I need to get out of here. Like, he's there the whole time. And they didn't realize it. So that part was pretty funny. But yeah, there was a couple parts that I kind of chuckled at or remembered thinking it was funny when I was a kid.
For me, kind of mainly that scene where they do the safety dance. Always, that I remember from being younger, and I chuckled at it, but yeah, a little difficult to find other moments that were funny.
I found, and I don't know if this is because I'm older and wiser, but I found both characters to be very draining.
Yes.
To be very extra, and I was not rooting for them at all.
No. They're not likable characters.
No.
Yeah.
What was your cringiest liner moment?
I was going to go with them creepily climbing into doctors' beds and possibly raping them. But even before that, Bud is eating his toenails, and Doyle is eating Bud's toenails as well.
That was mine. It was literally the cringiest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And again, goes with the, how did these guys land Monique and Jen?
Yes. And then somehow get Mimi and Petra to find them attractive. 4 beautiful women found these 2 attractive.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
There was a weird scene where Faulkner tells Bud and Doyle that they shouldn't do anything that they wouldn't, or that they would do at home.
Right.
Because they're in there kind of causing some commotion, and I think it's the first day.
Right.
And the weird scene that they cut to is them at home lathering a dog with shaving cream.
Yeah. There's a lot of cutaways to their, I guess, past.
Yeah.
And I had never remembered them.
There's no payoff with their cutaways. On Family Guy, when, Peter will say something and they do a cutaway to what he's mentioning, it's always hilarious.
Yes.
That is not the case on this.
No.
They all fall flat.
Just because he cut away doesn't mean it's going to land the joke.
No. Yeah. It's not comedy gold, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. There was also a scene where I've really built up a case for the fact that these 2 idiots are not actually idiots. They just decided that if they act like idiots, then nobody will make them do anything they don't want to do, and that they can get away with some horrendous things because they're like, well, they have low IQs and they're dummies. And in the one scene towards the beginning, they walk up and Olivia, who is played by Denise Dowsey,
Yeah.
she is towards the front by the entrance, and she's doing something with the plants because I think she's the plant person. Everybody has their niche.
Yeah.
And Bud turns to Doyle and he's like, watch this. And it was him saying, watch this, that made me realize. Then they start doing this thing where they're like, why can't we leave? And she's like, we already explained this to you. It's locked for a year. And they're like, but what you're saying is, and they just keep doing it to drive her insane. And I'm like, you guys are doing this for your own pleasure. You guys are psychopaths. And I used to like that scene when I was a kid because I just thought they were, they're making fun of these people.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you guys are psychopaths.
Yeah.
You guys are playing dumb just to do
Irritate
whatever the
them.
fuck you want. Yeah, and they get away with so much.
Yeah.
They destroy ecosystems. They destroy...
All the insect life.
They eat all the junk food.
Yeah. No, they're awful.
Yeah, they're the worst.
And again, you pointed out, we're supposed to root for them. They're
Yes.
our heroes.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is very true. To the point where at the end of the movie, because they finally decide that they're going to fix their fuck-ups, the one guy, TC, Kevin West's character, he actually says, you guys are my hero. Because they fucking let you finally do your work you needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah. God.
And they get the girls at the end.
Almost all of them.
I mean, technically, yes, but they did deny Kylie Minogue's character
Yeah.
because they had girlfriends.
Yes.
So, if you guys can't tell, we really love this movie.
It was great.
Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Just terrible body doubles when Bud and Faulkner get launched into the bug paper,
Yeah.
sticky paper. And boy, when the people that they actually launch up there, they look nothing like Pauly Shore or Faulkner.
Yeah.
It's
No.
bad.
They were really, really bad. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had on them had on this movie. That was it. That's all I had.
Okay. Are you ready to hand out some awards?
Sure, let's do it.
As always on Ruining Our Childhood, it is award season. We give out 2 awards every week, the first of which is the valedictorian to the Nicolas Cage Online School of Bad Acting. Who did you give it to?
I went a little back and forth, but I gave it to Stephen Baldwin.
Same.
Who plays Doyle. Just because I felt like at least some things that Bud said were kind of meant to be funny. He's a little more quippy and quick-witted compared to Doyle. Doyle is just dumb.
And I also felt like, as far as comparing the two, Bud's cheesiness and over-the-top and yet draining, that is Pauly Shore, or at least what I know of him is he's like that.
Yeah.
So everything Stephen Baldwin was doing is trying to match him or one-up that, and it is very apparent that it's all over-the-top, really bad acting to me.
Yeah. It's definitely, say what you want about Pauly Shore, but he does have some comedic timing to him.
Yes.
There is a reason he was quite popular for a string of movies.
Yes.
But yeah, Stephen Baldwin couldn't compare in the comedic sense.
No.
And he just, and I was just watching this movie. I was like, why did I find him attractive? His character attractive? Why did I think he was cute?
Because probably a lot
Why?
of those jokes hit with you, you know?
Maybe.
As an adult, they really don't. There are a lot
I
of
guess he's
swing
not a
and misses.
bad-looking guy, but his hair and his hair was kind of popular back then, I will say.
The
like
old-
that kind of dready. Ugh.
And the soul patch.
Yeah.
Yep. Eesh.
As Bud and him agreed, masturbation is the only thing he's good at. Because he's not good at this movie.
Yeah. No.
Do you want to move on?
Yes.
The next award is the Thomas J. Hanks Award for Exceptional Acting. Who did you give yours to?
I gave it to Taylor Negron as Russell. He's only in maybe 3 or 4 scenes, but he was the only redeeming quality in those scenes.
Yes.
So I really enjoyed his character. Kind of wish there would have been some more Russell in the movie. Because like you even mentioned, just him getting up and walking out of the biodome was funny.
Yeah.
You know, so that was it. He was the only redeeming thing in this movie for me.
I actually give it to Joey Lauren Adams.
Okay.
Because, first of all, I don't remember the girls having as big a part as they did. They're actually in quite a few scenes.
Very true.
And the story kind of follows them on the outside, dealing with deciding if they want to stay in a relationship with these guys and, you know, meeting some other guys who they think might be better because they seemed more concerned with the environment, which they're really passionate about. And turns out they're just douchebags as well.
Yeah.
At least Bud and Doyle are open about it. But I just thought she was like the least annoying character that was slightly more developed in a way.
Yeah.
And I guess the only bad thing about her was that she decided to give Bud a second chance.
I would imagine she probably lasts a week.
Yeah.
'Cause she's
Before
like,
he
no,
fucks it up again.
Yeah, he's a moron. Why am I in this relationship?
Like, I think my favorite scene was when she broke up with him after the party. Because she's just like, you guys just through this party, ruined this experiment that's really important.
Because they were very, like you said, environmentally conscious.
Yeah.
They were, you know, it's Earth Day. We need to go out and pick up litter and stuff. And they're doing everything in their power to get out of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she gets furious with them destroying the biosphere
Yeah.
or biodome.
Same difference.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah. Should we answer the question, does this movie hold up? I can't even.
On last week's episode, I made a statement that I felt out of any of the episodes, A League of Their Own held up better than any of them. And I can now say, out of any of our episodes, Biodome holds up the least out of any of these movies.
It's a fair assessment. I was thinking after we watched this movie that if I never watch this movie again, it will be okay.
Yeah.
I watched it. It was nostalgic because I had seen it so many times.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't find a redeeming quality in this movie.
I didn't laugh one time.
No. It wasn't even like, there's times where we've watched a movie that we've seen a lot, and the joke may not be funny, but I remember how funny it was in my head, so I laugh kind of almost nostalgically.
Yes.
I didn't have that at all, guys.
No, it's just not a good movie. It's
It's
terribly
not.
written, and
I couldn't even find good trivia. You know what most of the trivia was? How people who took the parts in this movie, their family members warned them that they should not be in this movie,
wow.
including Kylie Minogue.
Wow.
And Alec Baldwin told Stephen Baldwin, you probably shouldn't do this movie. It's going to ruin your career, which I don't know if it actually did because he still acts, but
but he's not Alec, that's for sure.
oh no.
You know,
Who is Alec Baldwin?
he plays President Trump on Saturday Night Live.
I mean, like, out of all the brothers.
No.
But it's just, for me, there's so many movies that we watch that kind of reinforce that here are men behaving like children, and it's cool because everybody loves them because they're funny, and it's cool because they fix the problem that they created.
I feel like you can get away with the men acting like kids when it's not the main character.
Yes.
Like if you go watch American Pie, Sean William Scott is very juvenile in that role as Steve Stifler, but he's a supporting character.
And they pointed out a lot that
Yeah.
he's an idiot.
In this movie, it is your leads. Both of them are incredibly juvenile acting, and it's exhausting watching them.
It is. And I will say, like, in the beginning of the movie, everybody, like, the whole team, the Biodome 5, they get sick of it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because they're ruining experiments, they're ruining the atmosphere in there. And it wasn't until they're like, you know, we should probably help them fix this. All of a sudden, everything's forgiven, and they're just like, cool, bro.
Yeah, it is not a good movie on any level.
No.
A couple of the soundtrack songs were okay.
Yeah.
That's your redeeming quality for this movie.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was probably the worst one we've seen in a while.
Yes.
For sure. I'm sorry, guys. If anybody loves this movie with a passion, I'm sorry.
If you do love it with a passion, I challenge you to go watch it and let us know what you think. And does it hold up in your opinion?
Yeah.
Because for us, specifically you had a lot of nostalgic memories from this movie, and then you watched it and you went, it's terrible.
The things that I liked about this movie when I was a kid were the things that I found exhausting in this movie. And then I must have forgot about this casual sexual assault, just disregard for their girlfriends and all that stuff.
All that, and then on top of it, none of the humor in this comedy resonates.
No.
It's all very bad.
Yeah. So bad. So yeah, there's another one in the books.
Yeah.
We hated it.
We did not like it.
Can't wait to do another Pauly Shore.
Oh, we're going to have to push that one back a few more weeks because, yeah.
Cleanse our palates.
Exactly. So we appreciate you guys listening, and as we mentioned earlier, please follow us over on our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, because we're going to put up another poll this week. What are the movies?
Let me load it.
Okay.
This week, we're doing a poll brought to you by animals.
Yay!
And it's going to be specifically dogs.
Yes.
Number 1 choice, Homeward Bound.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 choice, Beethoven.
Yes.
So, and I think we kind of collaborated on this, so there's not one that...
I can't lose for once, guys.
I loved both these movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have mentioned... I'm kind of a weirdo, and I feel like I liked some sequels better than I liked the original. Beethoven 2 was definitely a sequel that I remember watching more than the first Beethoven.
Beethoven 2 had the puppies.
Exactly. And they had the puppies.
Yeah.
It had Chris Penn, Debbie Mazar.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember Beethoven more than Homeward Bound, and I definitely do not remember Beethoven 2 other than the puppies, because you just hit me with Chris Penn's in it and Debbie Mazar, and I went, don't remember either one of them.
They were the villains.
I don't remember either one of them.
Homeward Bound, yeah. Mm-hmm. I watched the second one a lot, but the first one's way better. I think, in my opinion, from what I can remember. I haven't watched it in a good, I don't know. How old am I? I'm doing math. A good 20-something years.
Yeah, probably.
And fun fact, we were going to do Homeward Bound, in January?
Yes.
And because stupid Disney Plus had it on their app, and then we went to go watch it, and literally said it will be available in May. But guess what, guys? It's May now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
do it.
Maybe watch it if it wins, or Beethoven.
Or Beethoven. Vote for Beethoven, because that's the one I liked more.
Oh.
Support
well, I guess
Ryan.
I was trying to make it like, whatever one wins, but yeah, now vote for Homeward Bound.
Okay, fine.
Which one made me cry more? Homeward Bound.
That's fair.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to check out our poll on Wednesday on Facebook and Twitter, and on Friday on Instagram on our stories. Mm-hmm. And also, join the Ruiners Club.
For sure.
Why are you waiting so long?
Also, if you like the podcast, tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
If you hated it, tell an enemy.
Tell an enemy.
Just tell them you liked it.
Yeah, lie about it. Be like, these people are so hilarious.
They're the best.
They're the best. And then they're like, why do you even like this? And you're like, haha, you just wasted an hour of your life.
Zing! Gotcha.
Anyway, should we call it a day?
We shall.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
I almost said I love you.
Oh.
Get serious, guys. I love you. Bye.
Bye.